So the chorus of Children of Light, it goes, "You break down the walls before me. Lord, your faithfulness upholds me. You will lead me through the valley. I am bold in your victory." And that chorus has been really something that I sing to myself a lot when I feel doubt, whether it's that I'm even gonna be able to finish this project.
You broke the chains of the slave who was bound to the thief.
They definitely feel a little different from my first set of songs. They're a lot more personal and definitely a lot more intimate. My first EP, I feel like songs were written when I was in high school. They were written when I first became Christian, and I think in a way, visually, they're kind of like, okay, I'm here and God is all the way out in past the universe and the galaxies, he's far away. But when I started writing these songs, it was when I started going to college, and when I was in college, I started learning a little bit more about intimacy with God. I had some struggles in college where I really felt ashamed, and then I felt because of my shame, I wasn't good enough for God, and I just kept pushing him away. And then I just kind of was in that dark place for a long time, until I realized that Jesus' blood is more than enough to even cover all of that. I try so hard to hide all these bad things that I think about myself. I try so hard to protect my reputation around other people, but actually God knows me deeper than I know my own self, but he still chooses to accept me. And that's kind of the jumping off point of where I started writing these songs, was really realizing that I can trust him more than anyone else here, because he sees me as I am, but he still loves me with a love that's something that you can't get from anyone else here. This process of making this CD took a long time. We started in May 2012, and I thought it would be done by December 2012, but now it's basically May 2014. So 2 years later, I'm here. So when I first started, I was finishing up being a college student at UCLA. After I graduated, basically, I moved back to Orange County, and in October, I got married. In that whole process, still trying to finish this project was really hard. When I first started the album, I was really able to focus on my own art and expressing myself, and really being in touch with myself. And then now that I'm married, everything's really changed, and it's not really just all about me anymore, which I think is great. So if you're planning to get married, you should definitely get married, because it's good for you. It forces you to come to face with how selfish you are. I always felt that music was one of my gifts, and writing songs was one of my gifts, but it was hard to kind of see where that fit in the picture now that I was married and now that I was working, because I can't just come home and play piano for 6 hours. I have to come home and then hang out with my husband and cook dinner and pay bills and boring grown-up stuff. So it was really a hard challenge to figure out my new identity, and then also figure out the bigger picture of what this album means now. When I first started the project, the album was really kind of hey, this is where I'm at so far. This is my progress report, kind of like my resume, Now I'm gonna make 1,000 copies of this and distribute it to random people, and then go to Nashville and whatever, try to make it, I don't know. So I feel like the purpose of when I first started the project was really just for my own, career in music. But now that I've gone through all these other things, getting married and working and, stuff like that, I really feel like my focus for this CD really changed. My focus now is really thank you God. Thank you God that I could write songs. Thank you God that even though I lack so much, I didn't think I was gonna cry. Thank you God that I lack so much, but you would allow me to sing to thousands of people. You know, a lot of these songs that I write, they come from like the deepest place of my heart. But when I sing them to other people, they understand and they empathize with me and they can relate to it, and I think that's so amazing. That's such an honor to be able to make God's intimacy something that's tangible so that people can use that to be near to God. And I think I'm very, very grateful that I get to be part of people's spiritual life. I just feel really, really humbled that He would still allow me to do this. Even after everything, even after 2 years, people didn't forget about the songs and they're still wanting to hear it. And I'm so grateful that people give me a chance. So I feel like this CD now is like not really about me anymore. It's really more, hey, this is what God did for me when I was on my very last chance. Yeah, it's really just God's faithfulness in song form in my life. And people like listening to it, which is cool. So.